It's UFC 324. Headliner is Gaethje Pimblett. Interim fight because no Topuria. So in gets, Justin Gaethje gets the opportunity. He doesn't have to retire. Peace and love, peace and love. No retirement for Justin Gaethje. He's getting his interim title fight. By the way, that means that technically there are 3 titles that are going to be floating around the lightweight division. Undisputed, Ilya, interim winner of that fight, and BMF, Max Holloway. More on him in a bit too. Co-main event, Kayla Harrison, Amanda Nunes, women's bantamweight title. And then, of course, some other big fights announced like Sugar Sean against Song Yadong, Arnold Allen against John Silva, Waldo Cortez Acosta against Derek Lewis, as first reported by WCA right here on the program on Wednesday before we say goodbye for the break. Some other fights that were announced, Rose, Don't Call Me Namajunas. It's actually the opposite. Here I am mocking Dana White for how he said her name, and there's a typo in her name there. It's tough.
It's tough.
Typos are on the brain.
Taking off the rust.
Davison Figueiredo against Umar Nurmagomedov, and Atiba Gauthier against Andre Puliev on that card as well. It's a solid 8-pack of fights, if I'm being honest. Perhaps most exciting of all was that they are now going to start the main cards once again. And I say once again because they did this for like a cup of coffee in 2011, 9 p.m. Eastern start time. Oh my dear, that was the most exciting thing. It was so amazing when I heard that. I felt like it was a gift from the MMA gods. So 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 in the West, 2 a.m. in the UK. That's the new start time for all these numbered events. Tremendous news. Then Dana White went on Instagram Live because apparently the second show isn't big enough for a halftime of Cowboys Chiefs to announce that Sydney on January 31st here in America, February 1st over there, they're getting Alex the Great Volkanovski against one Diego Lopez, rematch of the fight that happened back in, when was it? In April in Miami. And no other fights have been announced for that one. I've heard some rumblings about some others, but we'll talk about that later. And this let off an avalanche, an absolute avalanche of tweets and reaction and whatnot. Here's the thing. I went on the channel and I reacted to it. And by now you've probably seen I was very fired up. The main thing I was fired up about wasn't necessarily that Paddy Pimblett is fighting Justin Gaethje. I don't really mind that at all. In fact, if it can't be Ilya in the main event, I feel like those two guys should be fighting each other. And once Arman won and they didn't fight before, like Ilya didn't fight before, I felt like it should have been Ilya versus Arman and then Paddy versus Justin. I don't even care all that much that it's for the interim belt, even though, I mean, technically Ilya hasn't fought since June. I don't think an interim belt should be instituted unless it's been a year out. And per his tweet, he doesn't suggest that he's not coming back, for 2026, like he's going to be out the entire year. So it feels a little bit soon. That fight happened about 6 months ago. By the time this fight will happen, this interim title fight, the main thing that pissed me off was that an interim title fight, and especially an interim title fight that doesn't feature the number one contender, which would be Arman, is headlining over an undisputed women's title fight, and not just any undisputed women's title fight. Like, let's be honest. There's been some that have been a little bit like lackluster. This is the return of the greatest women's fighter of all time against one of the most accomplished fighters in UFC history, 2-time Olympic gold medalist, PFL champ, UFC champion, and you're telling me it's not big enough to headline this event? And you're telling me that a Fugazi interim title fight is bigger than that? And that's going to headline the event and that has more prestige than this? I think it's insulting. I think it's a slap in the face. If I were them, I'd be incredibly upset over it. Ultimately, I think that they're going to be okay and say, hey, like, let me control the controllables, all good. But to me, for the sanctity of those belts, for the sanctity of the sport, you have to headline a show with an undisputed title fight over an interim belt, especially when, if it was like, when Conor and Mendez headline 189, Conor was about to fight for the belt. When Tony Ferguson headline, I think it was 249, he was about to fight for the belt. He was also a former interim champion. There was no fight on the books, and neither of these guys is the number one contender. Fires me up. Okay, so I've weighed in on this. Let me see what Rick and GC have to say about this. Rick, what do you think? Is this, okay, No Rick right now.
Yeah, Rick's that.
Yeah, he's helping out probably Lamont coming in. What do you think? I was all fired up. I was all upset. Your reaction?
Yeah, I think it's ridiculous with the matchmaking. Like you mentioned, like you don't have any issue with Paddy Pimblett versus Justin Gaethje. It's actually a really entertaining fight. I also think the same thing for Volkanovski versus Diego Lopez. It's just the fact that we're getting the interim title without Arman Tsarukyan in it, and now we're getting a guarantee that Paddy Pimblett versus Justin Gaethje winner will fight Ilia Topuria come next summer. So how long is the rightful number one contender in Arman Tsarukyan going to be out at 155? 145, you have undefeated Lerone Murphy, undefeated Movsar Evloev, and now Alexander Volkanovski's last fight was against Diego Lopez. Now he's fighting Diego Lopez again. And then that just leads you to think, going down the timeline, it's like, man, at 170, we have all these rightful contenders as well, and there's a chance that they give that. The betting favorite right now, you can get odds on that, is Kamaru Usman to fight that. So you're seeing this, we've always known meritocracy isn't the thing in this, but it's just like, man, there are rightful contenders being passed up in multiple divisions now. And I also just feel like it's lackluster to start the Paramount era with an interim title fight as your headliner.
I agree. And look, Paddy's a big name and Justin is a relatively big name. I have no problem. Like, I would not even say, I think those 8 fights are really good. You know what I mean? And I'm assuming they'll add a few more.
Yeah, 324 is stacked.
It
is a really great
Sean
card.
O'Malley's in the 3rd fight. Waldo's on fire. John Silva on there. It's just these little things. It's like, and I know that some people are like, Ariel, take a chill pill, man. Just enjoy the fights. I get it, but these things matter. Like, there's been this video being posted everywhere of like, we used to get announcements like this, and it's Connor and Jose Aldo walking in like this elaborate video, and now we get the Instagram lives. Like, all these things, like, it just feels so uninspired. The matchmaking feels uninspired. The promotion feels uninspired. The announcements feel uninspired. Everything feels uninspired. And I'm sorry if I care so much. I'm sorry if I care this much about the product, this much. Like, I get accused of being a hater. No, it's because I care. I love it so much. And all of it just feels so ho-hum. All of it feels so like, we just need to put this out there and the people will eat it up and they'll make the videos and they'll make the content and they'll do the interviews and they'll do all the promotion for us. I want you guys to care as much as we care. And it doesn't feel that way. And it doesn't feel like you're giving the people what they want. And I'm not necessarily saying that, everyone wanted Amanda Nunes and Kayla Harrison to headline the first show, but there was once a time where they would never do this, where Undisputed title has to go on last, especially over an interim belt. It has to go on last. And someone who, Diego Lopez obviously is going to take this title fight. Of course, he would be an idiot not to take the title fight. But in what universe does a guy on a 1-fight winning streak deserve it over a guy on a 9-fight winning streak, especially a guy like Lerone Murphy who's coming off an incredible knockout win? It all feels very uninspired.
I actually felt it was brilliant to do the halftime of the Cowboys-Chiefs game on CBS. You're getting this massive audience the whole time. They're running all these commercials, but then this is what you lob up to us. They set the scene to put out like these incredible events, and then also to go to the Instagram Live. Like, why did we need to go to the Instagram Live? Do the whole thing right there, halftime, capitalize on this massive moment, and it just felt like it fell flat with the announcements that we were given.
Especially since they're a week apart. Like, you could have easily done that and been like, hey, I'm here to announce the first 2 shows, 2 number events, back-to-back, title fights galore. And then you get the Rose Namajunas, Like, come on, man. Come on.
Yeah, I mean, I just can't get over the fact that we're getting Paddy versus Gaethje, but it's for an interim belt, and now we're going to have Arman Wait. And then the same thing is happening at 145. We're passing up rightful contenders, and it could happen at 170 as well. That was my biggest takeaway from Thursday afternoon.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we're living in a time, I put this out there as well, we're living in a time where, it's Diego against Alex with Lerone and Movsar on the sidelines. It's Paddy and Justin fighting when you have, guys like Arman who could easily be fighting. Like, a lot of people said, hey, Arman just fought. Arman said it very clearly on this show, in the cage, at the post-fight press conference, I'm ready to go. It's 2 months away. I'm not hurt. I am ready to go. I just took a 1.5 years off. Give me that fight. Why couldn't it have been Paddy versus Arman? That to me would have been fine. I would have felt a little bit better because Arman is the true number 1 contender. This makes no sense. This makes no sense. And then you have Armin saying, like, I hope they give me a BMF. Like, what? What are you talking about, man? You should be fighting for the belt, not the more Fugazi belt.
Or why couldn't it have been Paddy Gaethje just on this card?
As a number one contender fight.
It's just a great fight.
Yes.
It's a number one contender. I guess putting the interim belt on it makes him the number one contender. But yeah, it just feels like these three divisions are sort of
and when
off.
I say, by the way, number one contender, it should be number one contender fighting the winner of Armin versus Ilya. Do you remember, we all went gaga when a reporter asked Dana White, is the winner of Armin versus Hooker going to fight for the belt? And he said yes.
None of that means anything because it was also, remember...
Brady and Morales.
At MSG, yeah, Brady and Morales.
But this one was before. This one was before, and we were like, oh, wow. They're actually making like number one contender fights. They're actually going to have that label. Didn't come true. Word means nothing. Brady Morales, best as we can tell, Morales ain't fighting for the belt next.
And people are taking this confusion as if this frustration is against the fighters. It's not against the fighters. It's against the matchmaking. It's against the UFC. Like, of course, like you said, Diego Lopez is going to take his title shot. Of course, Paddy and Gaethje are going to sign the dotted line to do the interim title fight. They're going to headline the first card for the Paramount era. It's just the UFC. It does feel like it's just lackluster right now.
I wonder, it'd be so great to ask for some sort of like, okay, what's your thinking here? What were you thinking? Explain to us.
Here's my, like, when I was trying to justify it, I was considering that the matchmaking just didn't work out. Ilya Tabor is dealing with personal problems. Arman Tsarukyan just fought. Maybe they hit up Alex Pereira to defend his belt on the Paramount thing. And, like, things just were not falling into place. And this is what they were left with. And behind the scenes, they were like, look, Paramount, like, the good fights, the great fights will come, but like this is the best we can do at the moment due to circumstances. The fans are going to be mad. We're going to put it out. The show goes on.
No, I understand. And they're going with the bigger names. Paddy's a huge name. I get all of that, but you'd still get Paddy on the card if he was fighting in the co-main event for the interim belt. I just think it's incredibly insulting. Now, like I said, an avalanche of tweets. Let's go through some of the tweets if we can. I'll follow you guys. You just take me through them if you can. We can start with Armin here. Make it make sense. This was his reaction. Paddy saying to Armin, "You like apples?" I believe that's what is that? A Goodwill Hunting reference?
Yeah. How about them apples?
Yeah, something like that.
It's just like Arman Tsarukyan, like he took care of business against Dan Hooker.
Yeah. Okay. What else? This is back in August. Volkanovski saying, "See you in December, Lerone." Shout out to Volk. Volk is the guy who this whole time was saying, give it to Lerone or Movsar. He's not picking and choosing. Lerone, as you can see, replying, "My man." Happy with that. It looked for a moment like he was going to get it. He says now, on Thursday, missing the opportunity to fight one of the featherweight goats is what hurts me the most. It's not about who's the best anymore. It's about who's most popular. And he's 100% right. And my understanding is this started to go in motion after Diego beat John Silva in September. No, keep going. He says, "I'm going to try to fight every month now, Kevin Holland style. #new path." Well, maybe that will get people behind him, or at least in the UFC. March UK against anyone. Well, if it's every month, it has to be, January, February, and then March. But yes, that would make a lot of sense. Now here's Movsar weighing in. Leon Murphy. Now, is he talking about Leon Edwards or Lerone? I don't know. I'll give you the opportunity to fight the number one contender. Tell your people you're ready to fight me on the same card as the championship. Movsar seemed to have known about this a long time ago because he wasn't calling for any title shot. And by the way, that seems to be the fight to make, in my opinion. That seems to be the fight to make. That should be the number one contender fight. What else is there? Here's Diego Lopez saying, "Take the risks, accept the fights they're offering you, do a good job and presentation, and then we'll talk. Mustache season is coming. See you in Australia." And by the way, he's right. Like, of course, take it. And he has been that good soldier, that company man. He delivers. But I'm sure if he was in Lerone's shoes, he would feel the same. What else is there? Here he is, Diego Lopez. "My face when I saw everyone crying, sitting around. He won't give you a title fight. Get to work and stop whining on social media." Heel Diego. What else? Here's Aljamain Sterling weighing in. "It's 110% not what it used to be. I ride for the company, but this shit is beyond frustrating. I get their POV, but stop saying we give the fans the fights that they want to see and we make the best fight the best. It's way more frequent now and extremely hard to ignore, especially at your weight class." Was there more? As far as the reaction, that is it. I had this written down. Gaethje Paddy with Arman ready. Volk Diego with Movsar and Lerone ready. And it seems like we're getting Islam Usman with Shavkat, Morales, Praches, Gary all ready. What is going on? Extremely frustrating. Alex Volkanovski commented on it. He's in Thailand right now, getting ready, doing a little training camp. Here's what he had to say, courtesy of his YouTube channel.
We thought, Lerone Murphy, December. Then, I guess UFC, and they were waiting for Jean Silva and Lopez. Then they were saying Lopez, and we're like, obviously we're like, and we just fought that guy. Is there more deserving people, whatnot? But everyone knows that I'll fight anyone, right? So whoever they put in front of me, I'll do. But there was them questions there. Obviously, again, I thought it was a Mobzar deserving, Lerone Murphy. I thought they were the two guys. They're the guys I called out. UFC really won Lopez, but at least at least everyone knows they're in for a treat. It's going to be a very exciting fight. With your Mobzars and Lerones, they're probably they're more deserving. But are they going to bring a fight like Lopez would? I think the fans are going to appreciate the fight that me and Lopez are going to have. But it is what it is. Whoever they put in front of me, let's go.
I mean, credit to the guy. You could tell he's not in favor of this. You can tell. He keeps talking about Lerone and Movsar. You can tell. And he's that kind of guy. He's that kind of champion. Paddy Pimblett's first words came via the UFC social accounts. Here was his reaction to getting this interim title fight against Justin Gaethje on the 24th of January.
Me and Gaethje now for the world title. It's interim. People are going to say, it's the only did interim, this and that. But I'm fighting for the world title, lad. People said I'd never be ranked. People say I'd never do this, never do that. And the goalposts always get moved for me. It's just normal. Once I finish Gaethje, it's going to be, he was 37. He was retiring anyway. He's on his way out. He's being handled the title shot. All this bullshit. But when I first signed with the UFC, it was trying to get knocked out by Benzamini. He's only beating journeyman. Jared Gordon beat him. Jordan Levitt's going to submit him. Then it was Bobby Green's going to knock him out. Then it was Michael Chandler's going to knock him out. Now it's Justin Gaethje's going to knock him out. But then once I beat him, it'll be he was old, he's this, he's that. So I'm used to it, you know what I mean? People think I'm still the same fighter who come in and fought Benzamini back in September 2021 when I'm a whole different animal. And first ever time when we fought in January, the earliest I've ever fought. It's going to ruin me Christmas dinner and my birthday because I'm 31 like 3 weeks before it. But it's all going to be worth it when I lift that real title above my head. And Paddy the Baddy is a world champion. And 2026 is going to be the biggest year of my life. I am coming for that interim title. Then I'll be making it the undisputed title when I come and beat Ilia Topuria up and take the undisputed title. And then little posh boy, if he manages to fight in that time, because he likes sitting out and saying he's got a sore back. If little posh boy fights in that time and keeps his ranking, I'll punch his head in as well.
Okay, so spicy stuff there. And again, to reiterate, there is no part of, I want to be very clear about this. Leading up to the Arman fight, I was saying time and again, we got to do Ilia versus Paddy. It's too big. And even him talking, it's too big. They had the little run-in Qatar, it's too big. Once I found out that Ilia wasn't going to be ready, and then Arman wins, well, now the deck has been shuffled. And so ultimately, I have no issue with Paddy fighting for the interim belt. You see what I'm saying? This isn't against Paddy Pimblett. My issue really is, it should be Paddy versus Arman for the interim belt. Why is Gaethje in there, especially when Arman said himself that he was ready to go? It's 2 months in between fights. We've seen quicker turnarounds. He didn't get hurt against Dan Hooker. He said it himself. The easiest way to have rectified this if Ilia Topuria wasn't going to fight was Paddy versus Arman, #1 contender fight, winner fights Ilia Topuria. Because now, if you are giving the winner of Paddy versus Justin the interim belt, we presume that means they will punch their ticket to fighting Ilia Topuria, unless they have to defend it. God help us if they have to do that. Where does that leave Arman? Now all of a sudden he doesn't get to fight anyone?
They have to defend against Arman? But yeah, there's a real possibility that they do this in January. If things go to plan, they fight Ilia in the summer for the undisputed, And then after that, we wait and see when Arman could potentially fight for the undisputed from there. So, like, we're talking like October, late 2026. You'd have a guy that fought at UFC 300 and would have only fought one time in 2.5 years since then. Also, Paddy mentions like how active he is. Since December of 2023, they both have 3 fights. Same amount of activity.
Great shout. And his last fight was in April. Is there a silver lining here? Is the silver lining if Paddy wins, we're getting Paddy versus Ilya at the White House, which is a gigantic fight?
I mean, I guess I don't know. I thought we were going to get Paddy versus Ilya on this Paramount card.
Yeah, I know.
The venue doesn't really matter to me.
Well, you do want the biggest fights possible at the White House, right?
I suppose.
I can't tell which part bothers me more, the fact that it's Paddy versus Gaethje for the interim and not Paddy versus Arman, or the fact that they're headlining over Amanda and Kayla. I think ultimately, if I'm being honest, I think it's the latter.
Wow. Mine is definitely the ignoring of rightful contenders across the divisions.
Yeah. Thanks for watching this video. Before you go, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button for us. Also, give us a thumbs up, leave a nice comment. These things go a long way. And while you're here, do check out the rest of the channel. We've got live shows and full interviews, clips, and a whole lot more. We're doing big things here, and we appreciate your support very much.